Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joining us now on Katz and Cosby, President Trump saying, well, guess what? There may be some changes to NATO after them not stepping up when he needed them to deal with Iran. And joining us now to talk about that and so much more is Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor. Victoria, where is this going?
Well, this is really an interesting, uncharted water for NATO, Rita, and I think this was a conversation that was long overdue. Not to date myself, but I used to work for Donald Rumsfeld, who was ambassador to NATO in 1974. I didn't work for him then. But
you were in kindergarten at the time. I didn't know he employed people that young, but anyway.
He did not. But later on, I read his memos back to then Secretary Kissinger saying the Europeans aren't paying up. We're creating a culture of dependence. This has been going on for 50 years. So it had to end. And I'm sorry it had to end this way with this kind of just terrible behavior from, quoting Rumsfeld again, what I would call old Europe. Old Europe behaved pitifully during the Iran war, and new Europe stood up and helped us. And so we need to reassess NATO going forward. We need a new NATO. We need a NATO 3.0. I'm not saying we don't need the transatlantic alliance. We do economically. It's a powerhouse. It should be a security powerhouse, but we have to get them into this new mindset. They're not there right now, clearly. And this is an opportunity to do that.
You know what's such a disgrace, Victoria, is that, and President Trump brought it up this week about South Korea. South Korea, we have tens of thousands of troops there. And they couldn't offer. Japan, the prime minister came and sounded like she was going to do something. They haven't done anything. We have 61,000 troops in Japan. I mean, I don't blame him for saying and today, we just needed a little minesweeper. UK has a whole bunch of them, but they can't, it's like, we can't offer you a Honda, even if you can do everything else.
President Trump, he didn't need them. He was testing them.
And they failed, John, don't you think? I mean, they failed.
Oh, they failed miserably. And I do think this is something, particularly with Japan, we need to work on, because their constitution prevents them from doing anything offensive and militarily wise. And that's something we put in place after World War II for excellent reasons. But now that is changing, and I think Prime Minister Takahashi Ichi is very ready to change that. Prime Minister Abe started that process. We can work with them. But yes, South Korea, that is a disgrace. The UK, such an embarrassment. We need new leadership in the UK.
Governor Patterson.
Vicky, you really described exactly what's going to happen very well. Can you go a little deeper about who's going to be on the president's list to help and who's going to be on the president's list to totally ignore?
Well, Governor, I think this is going to be a very easy trip through the NATO Charter. And everyone talks about Article 5 and the right to collective defense once you become a NATO member. And that is true. But you have to get through Article 3 to get to Article 5. Article 3 is funding collectively the defense. And so anybody who's not at least 3% plus 1.5 in 3% of GDP on defense plus 1.5% on critical infrastructure. That is the bottom. That is your baseline to get to earning your Article 5 privileges. I think that's how we do it. And it's going to be very simple.
That's fascinating.
So what do you think is going to happen with the whole ceasefire too? Really quick, Victoria, we just have about a minute or two left, but Lindsey Graham had a great line, and he said, the president is the one who can decide if he's going to go to war, and he's the only one who he believes can end it, but he also believes Congress might be able to play some role. But he's all over the place, but he seems to think, obviously, it's President Trump pulling the strings. Clearly, he's the only one who knows.
Yes, and I think that's absolutely the case. The commander-in-chief has 90 days. We're well within that threshold. Congress can be supportive if they want to, but there's not much they can really do about it at this point. I would like, if we have to go forward, I'd like to see the president consult them. They are the representatives of the American people. But I actually think we're going to wind this up in the next 2 weeks during the period of the ceasefire.
Wow.
That would be amazing. That would be an amazing moment for history. So you're confident. You think it's going to end and Iran will be brought to their knees?
Is that good for breaking news?
Yeah, that could be good. Hang on one second. Victoria, you just said something great as always. Here we go.
And a plus.
Here we go.
Breaking news, WABC.
So, Victoria, say it again about the timetable.
I think we're going to wrap this up in the next 2 weeks, and we're going to do it in a way that is beneficial to the American people. It will satisfy the president's baseline goals, and then we'll see what we can do going forward.
Well, we'll keep us posted, Victoria. The world is watching, and I agree. I think
Indeed.
the next few days are going to be really pivotal, too, especially.
Thank you, Victoria, for everything you've done and everything you're doing.
Well, thank you all. I appreciate you.